Hi everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This video is going to be the next in line after the previous video, or the previous success of the video, how to start having tantric sex, advices for beginners. Once we saw that video went over a few 100,000 views, I started reviewing all the comments and I got a lot of different questions. Actually, I was also invited to become the expert in tantric sex of a reality show in the UK. And I was like, what? Like, they really emailed me and they called me up and said, guys, I'm not an expert, I'm just a practitioner, but I enjoy it quite a lot. So don't think of me as an expert in this. And yet, because I've been doing this for the last 15 years, I have gathered a lot of information about it. So there's a lot of expertise or experience in this. Today, we're going to dive a little deeper into the 3 stages of tantric sex. And again, these are advices for beginners, and I believe most of you can use them quite a lot in the bedroom as well. So let's start. Let's begin with why we're watching this video. One of the reasons we're watching this video is because there's sex in the title, and everything that has to do with sex is very intriguing for us. But what's the source for that? The source for that is before we were incarnated here in what we call the 3D realm, we came from a place that is a higher vibration. And in the place of a higher vibration, we're actually united. The masculinity and the femininity becomes one. So here we are experiencing the duality of life, and therefore in some way we strive for belonging in unity once again. When a lion eats a zebra, it wants to be united. When a man wants to conquer a woman and make love to her, he wants to be united as well. So what we're actually striving for is this unification. And that is one of the things we have to remember when we are practicing tantric sex with our partner. We are actually belonging with their energy in some way, and we are attracted to that to become one again. So we are playing the game of separateness for a while, and every now and then we become one with that energy form. The second thing we need to remember is what is the orgasm? What is the orgasmic state? The orgasmic state that we strive for, that is our ambition to reach, is again formed or originates from that 5D reality where we are timeless. In other words, the 3D reality is an illusion of space and time, and yet we know what timeless means. Time itself fluctuates according to our spiritual level or our state of being. When we are enjoying ourselves, it seems like time is traveling much faster. When we are having a good time, we can say that time just flies by. Sometimes in a very, very deep meditative state, I can tell you that I've been 2 hours in a meditation that felt like it's 5 minutes. And a lot of the participants from the different workshops we do come to me after the meditations because I'm a guide for a deeper meditation or that type of stateless being. And they tell me that they don't understand where time went. So this is the orgasm. The orgasm for the average person is only a few seconds, but it feels timeless. And in that time, we can't really say what time is. We're not really here. We're not really present. We are present in the orgasm itself. And again, we go back to unity. Now remember these 2 things because they are very, very important. What we're going to talk about now is the state. What do I mean the state? In the previous video, which was again called how to start having tantric sex, advices for beginners, which I highly recommend you preview before you see this video, we went into practicing, but we didn't talk about the heart, we didn't talk about emotion, we didn't talk about the partner, we didn't talk about the state. We were very, very practical, giving advices of how to do it, how to practice this, how to reach that state. Here I want to go into the practice itself of the state that we are in, because we want to indulge ourselves into the act of love. Now, I'm not coming to you as a very, very spiritual, new age type of hippie saying, oh, you know, this is amazing and I want to melt in your arms. Yes, there's that. But it has to be with a proper balance, right? We are Westerners, we're very, very grounded people. We want to enjoy life a little bit more. So one of the things you need to think about is first, their partner. You cannot have a one-night stand and expect them to have tantric sex with you. Why? Because there needs to be a connection. There needs to be a synergy of energies. You need to know this person. Plus, they need to know that you're practicing this type of lovemaking because it's very experiential. In other words, there's much more touching, sensing, there's much more connection, gazing into each other's eyes, a very long foreplay. The goal here is not to reach the orgasm. The orgasm that can be reached is one of the amazing byproducts of tantric sex. And that is because of something I'm going to explain in just a minute. So when you choose your partner, or when you understand who your partner is, know how to talk with them about them without raising a resistance. A lot of the people who are watching this video are women. And for women, approaching your man and opening up to something new might be an issue, because the masculine energy comes with an ego, especially when it comes to sex and performance anxiety and stuff like that. So you have to know how to talk with them, because you know your men much more than I know your men, obviously. You have to know how to talk with them in a gentle way to show them that there's no success, there's no failure, there's only trying and enjoying. The second thing you need to understand is you have to put a slot in your time for that. Treat it like a ceremony, okay? Before a ceremony, go wash yourself, be clean, put a bunch of candles, make it a little bit more romantic, more than the quickie, the 5-minute quickie that most of us experience because we simply don't have time, or because a week has passed and we're very, very horny and the level of hormones in our body is very, very too high, and then we just want to let go, we just want to get there. That's not the point I'm talking about. This is more like a spiritual journey that two people take together. So think about it as a ceremony and prepare yourself. Even put a slot in your schedule that you know that right here we have 1 hour for ourselves. So we can make out a little bit before that, we can prepare ourselves for that, we can understand that it's not just about the intercourse itself. Now let's talk about the intercourse. In the state where you are at right now when you are making love to your partner, I want you to think about where your mind goes. Because remember that timeless state that we talked about in a meditation, for example, many times our mind wanders off somewhere. And then we try to bring it back to the focus of the now. We use different methods. Some of us use breathing, some of us use different visualizations and stuff. With enough practice, you get into that mindless state. And again, once in a while, a thought will come in. Think about you on the dance floor. Are you enjoying whatever it is that you're dancing to right now? Or are you thinking, I wonder how that person perceives me right now. I wonder how I look. Is this move gonna be cool? Ooh, look at that guy, look at that girl. They're dancing pretty cool. Maybe I'm going to mimic them or something like that. So again, you're not enjoying the meditation of the dance itself. When you are enjoying the meditation of the dance itself, you don't really think about anything. You just are. You are the music. You embody the body movement. You enjoy it so much. This is the reason why a lot of people need to get intoxicated, take drugs or alcohol or a lot of different things like that, because once again, it's hard for them to reach that state without a thought and just enjoying the meditation of the dance itself. The same thing happens during an intercourse. In other words, we are thinking about other things. And then what happens is that we immediately step out of focus and then we're out of the game in some way. Why? Because one thought led to another thought, and then the thought blaming ourselves for not being there. And then again, for a guy, for example, you just lose your grip in some way. For a woman, you just lose your interest. So the state that you should be in is comprised of a few different facets. The first one is the love you have for your partner, meaning the person that you are here with right now. Don't think about what you have to do in 5 minutes. Don't think about you being tired after a very, very long day at work. Just think about them and find the perfect balance between giving them enjoyment and thinking about their enjoyment and your own enjoyment, okay? Because if you focus too much on their enjoyment, then you won't enjoy yourself. And then again, you would lose friction and you lose interest. And if you're too much interested in your own enjoyment, then you won't think about theirs. So there's a balance point that needs to be reached. Most of us care more about what the other person is enjoying because our ego is afraid to be hurt because we're not good enough in bed. Conquer that thought, overcome it. Understand that it is a balance point. The second thing is the breath, and this is very, very important with everything that has to do with Tantra. The breath has to be longer than usual. The breath has to be concentrated and visual, and you can visualize that you are actually breathing into your partner. Now, as a man, when I go in, I'm actually breathing in to my body and allowing the pranic, allowing the pranic energy to move and flow through my body and to my partner. When you're one person not enjoying the act, then when you're breathing, you're actually creating a torus field around you. The breath and the energy comes in from the divine, from your crown chakra, moving through your entire chakra system, going down through the ground, grounds you, and then comes back. This is one formation. And the second is the other way around. In other words, it can go in both directions. It can go just like that. Now, when we are two and we're in the act of love, actually the energy unites. In other words, instead of one formation by yourself, you're actually moving between two different people. So when we are going in, we're actually going to breathe in and allow the energy to flow through them. And when we are going out, you will understand that the energy comes back to your body. And for a woman, it's the opposite. When a man enters, you will see that you're receiving the energy. Allow that energy to go up through your pranic channel, through all of your chakras, and come out to the other end, back towards them. This is why the pace is so important. This is not normal sex. You don't want to go wham, bam, thank you, man, and do anything quick. You want to take your time, okay? Take your time, do it slowly. Allow the arousal to move up a notch every time, just a little bit. Because what you have now is the average person has sex for about 4 or 5 minutes, and then the average orgasm is just 2 to 3 seconds. In an orgasmic state that comes from Tantra, you can have an orgasm that lasts for 20, 30 seconds, some people even longer. Let's take a look at this chart. This will explain it just a little bit better. So, think about it this way. We'll take an example for a man, okay? When we begin here, this is our arousal, this is a higher high, and this is a lower low, okay? And over there is our amazing expected orgasm, even though you don't have to strive for anything like that. So when we start right here, we get aroused. Let's say we get to the 70% arousal rate. From up here, we can go up to an orgasm, which is something very, very normal that most people do. Or we can relax, enjoy some caressing, slow down our pace, understand that we can just stay, and then it will go down a little bit. Now, most people, when it goes down just a little bit to this point, they think, oh shit, it's over, I lost it. There's nothing to lose here. Actually, what you're doing is preparing for an even higher, say 80% arousal rate. So what you actually get is that you get to get higher just a little bit every time. Actually, it's more like 75, let's say. And then again, a few minutes go by, natural pace, slow with your partner, remember to breathe, remember to focus on your love to each other, remember to prepare them before that you're actually just experiencing something new, you're just experimenting with yourself because you understand that everything requires some practice. And then the next time it will go down just a little bit, and then up again, and up again, and up again. Until you get to that point where you're like 90%, oh my God, I'm going to come, I'm just going to go crazy in a second. Here you can make a choice, okay? It is a choice. A choice to go full orgasmic, which will be much more powerful than any normal orgasm that you had so far, or a choice to simply let go and continue staying on that 90%, which feels amazing. It's an arousal state. It feels somewhere between an orgasm and a non-orgasm, okay? Now, why do I say that you can have a choice? Because again, you don't have to get to the orgasm. Because again, that's goal-oriented, and then you're not focused on what you have right in front of you, which is enjoying your partner, enjoying love. You can do this in another day. You don't have to. In the previous video, we talked about preventing the ejaculation itself, which can actually give you or give any man multiple orgasms. Now look at this trend. What does it remind us? It reminds us of women that are already achieving multi-orgasms. In other words, the first orgasm is not as powerful as the second orgasm and not powerful as the third orgasm. And again, between them, there's a small, probably you understand what I'm talking about, there's a small time where it go just a little bit down, and then again, some friction, some visualization, some thought, some caressing, some arousal, in other words. So this is the point of the tantric experience. An average intercourse, for example, would be somewhere between here and here. Why? Because we get aroused, and then we have some foreplay, and then there's intercourse, and then just a few minutes. She comes, you come, get down here, and then again, enjoyment, finished, we can go on, whatever. The point here is not to get to that place where we have to ejaculate. The point here is to relax, slow our pace, take our time just a little bit longer, and play around with that point. Just like anytime we have sex, there is pace. In other words, there is the speed of going in and out, in and out. You have to synchronize with your partner. In this case, the pace has to be a little bit slower. Now, the reason for that is that you're concentrating on your breathing and on the love that you have for this person, on the amazing act, on your presence, in other words. And you will notice that because you're transferring your energy to them and you're visualizing in the beginning, before it becomes something that is more automatic, sort of like practicing meditation, they will receive that energy and they will bring it back to you. Again, we are closing the circle. So as you are exploring this, sometimes you won't have success. Expect that. Expect some failures in the beginning, expect some orgasm fuck-ups for each other. Expect to maybe get out of the bedroom and say, oh my God, I don't know why I'm even trying this, but I guarantee that this is 2 steps backwards in order to take 10 steps forwards. And the reason that you're even interested in this is because you know it exists. And you know that it doesn't have to be a yogi somewhere in India. It can be right here in the Western world. Some of your friends probably practice this without even talking about it, because sex is something that they don't want us to talk about, because it's a liberating act. And the sexual energy is responsible for creativity, and it can actually liberate the whole of humanity. But right now, subjects like polyamoric relationships, open relationships, threesomes, anal, all these type of things, nobody even mentions it because it's like improper in some way. So in conclusion, the things we talked about was the partner and how to talk about this, opening ourselves up to the different states, concentrating and having a stateless, a timeless, and a thoughtless state of concentrating just on the love we have and on the breath itself. We talked about the different energy transference that we have to visualize, especially in the beginning, about the potential fuck-ups or orgasmic fuck-ups that we might have, and that's okay as well. I want to mention that the workshops that I do have nothing to do with tantric sex, but it is a part of the synchronicity. But when a person does reach this type of pranic living state or a more spiritual aware state, they do want to bring mindfulness and meditation into pretty much everything that they want. Tantric sex is very, very obviously one of those things that just come naturally, or the seeker of spirituality will want to experience. And again, this is not for everyone, but this is for everybody that has an open mind and wants to explore even more. I can tell you this is a life-changing thing, especially for the relationship. This can save a dying relationship, and this can actually help people achieve a higher state of being. And I think even great creativity and ideas that come, solutions that come, just because you're so, I don't know, so relaxed afterwards. So your mind is completely thoughtless. So thank you very much. If you want any of my freebies, subscribe to the YouTube channel, go on the website, go and subscribe to our newsletter, www.maor.com. And over there you can see our global workshop schedule as well. So my friends, thank you very much for watching me, and I will see you in my next video. Namaste.